Hello and welcome to Gear for Music. I'm Simon Edgoose from Yamaha and I'm here to show you the DTX M12. What is the DTX M12? Well, it's a multi-pad, and I'm sure you've all seen multi-pads before, but this one is a little bit different. It's very, very, very clever. Let me show you some of the things it can do, or tell you some of the things it can do. There's 12 pads built in, plus I can plug in another 5 into the back. And the pads inside, the internal pads, are also pressure sensitive, so they actually respond to me touching them. Then the sound library is massive. It's got percussion instruments from all over the world. It's got tuned percussion, drum kits, electronic percussion, you name it. It's all there. So what the M12 does is it gives drummers the ability to control everything they need as far as technology is concerned. So it will control their clicks, it will control their samples, it will control percussion, it will control loops, keyboard sounds. It's got a built-in sequencer. Is there anything it doesn't do? There's loads of stuff. It's absolutely brilliant. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the internal sounds. If I want this to be a drum kit, it will be a drum kit. Okay, so that's just an Oak custom sound. And what I've got here is, if you listen carefully, bass drum and crash cymbal stacked together. That's 2 sounds. I can have 4 sounds stacked together on all of these pads and all of the external ones. And I can get it so that it either layers 4 sounds together, or every single time I hit the pad, it gives me a new sound. Then we've got percussion. So if I want to loop, and I can just start and stop loops with a single hit. Then maybe I want some tuned percussion. Or maybe I want some synth sounds. It's all here. And of course I can control these with the internal pads, or I can control these with the external pads. So I've got lots and lots of options. Now, I said about the pressure sensing feature. Let me show you what I mean. I've got the tubular bells back. If I press on the pad, I can mute the tubular bell sound, which is absolutely brilliant. Or if I want to mute a cymbal, let's go up here. I can just squeeze the pad and mute the cymbal. So they're all pressure sensing, which is very, very clever. But it also means I can do things like this. If I put my sticks down, I've got an open conga sound, put my hand on the pad next door to it, and I got a mute conga sound. So I can actually control open and closed conga sounds just by the pressure, which is exactly what you do on a real conga. Let me grab my stick again. Right. Then, using the external triggers, I can plug in a bass drum pad, a hi-hat controller, maybe some other pads as well, and I can make the M12 into a perfect little sampled mini kit. Very, very small, very, very compact, but very, very powerful. Now, all the sounds I can edit the pitch, I can edit the filtering. There's lots of different things. And as well as the internal sounds I can edit, I can also put my own sounds into it. So I can put up to 64 meg of my own sounds, that's 12 minutes of my own sounds, into the M12 and split it up over the pads and generally treat them like an internal sound. If I want to change the pitch of them, I can. It's really up to you. So, if I want to play some tabla, I can do that. Those are some sounds I've put in earlier. Right, then I have the ability to be a DJ as well. So I can control different parts of songs. So I've got a section here, another section here, and I can just swap between the two. So say this is my verse, chorus, bridge, synths, more synths, as you can see, really, really powerful. And I can just control what starts, what stops at any point. Right, then we have clicks. So there's a built-in metronome, and this can be set to a certain tempo for every single preset. And there's 200 user presets. So you can have 200 fixed clicks and you can name the song. So when you're doing a gig, you just find the set you want and the click is already at the right tempo. But what I can do with this is I can also control the tempo of loops. So this is a loop I've got. Percussion. Synth. But what I can do, if I press 2 buttons, I can use one of the pads as a tap tempo. I'll play it really slowly. Okay, so now all the internal sounds, all the internal loops have all changed tempo as well. So I can actually control things. So if the singer starts off a song too fast, I can control it and I can go with them as well. So it's really, 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 really powerful. Very, very good for gigging drummers. So now we're going to look at an app specifically for the M12. And this is only available on the iPad because it needs a lot of real estate. It needs a lot of size, so because there's so much information to control here. But what this does, what the iPad app does, the M12 Touch app does, is it gives editing functions to absolutely everything on the M12. So I can change the voices, I can change the reverbs, I can change the volumes, absolutely anything. It's incredibly powerful. Let me just show you what I mean. So if I touch the app, touch the pad that I've just played, that's the hip gig snare. Let's change that hip gig snare to something else. Let's change it to a, I don't know, what should we go for? Maple Custom. Maybe a hard rock snare. Whatever you want, it's all there. So if you wanted to edit the volumes, for instance, we can just pull up the mixer page, all the effects, any of the trigger settings as well. So we really can go to town. It's immensely powerful. One other thing that the app can do is it can trigger songs from the M12. So I hit a pad on the M12, and because they're connected with a USB cable, I can trigger songs back from the iPad, which means if you've got a 16 gig iPad, you can trigger 16 gigs worth of tracks or songs or whatever else back from that. Incredibly good for the gigging drummer. So that's a brief overview of the M12. We've covered some of the basics, but there really is so much more to explore here. So if you'd like to learn about this or any other products in the Yamaha range, please visit the Gear for Music website. Thank you very much for watching.